The new tactical gear system is now here on PUBG Console, and I've had tons of questions on how to use it and what the different things do. So today, I'm very quickly going to tell you how you can use it, what the controls are, very briefly what each of the items does. I'll do a more in-depth video on this at a later date. We're just going to very quickly run through each of the items today, and then I'm going to give you after that my opinion, my first impressions on what I think about all of this stuff after playing it yesterday on the live servers, as well as gameplay footage of all of the different tactical gear being used in proper games. So the main question everyone had was, how do I get my tactical gear out? You have your tactical gear carrier you start each game with, you put that on the floor and you select your item. A lot of people are saying my EMT is locked or my blue chip detector is locked. It's not locked. The padlock icon is just there to show that you can't drop it. You can't change your tactical gear once the game is started. That's what the padlock means. In order to actually get your tactical gear out, like your EMT or your repair bag or whatever, you have to press LB and Y. That's the default control. If you have custom controls set up, you might find that you need to manually bind that. I had to go and do that because LB and Y for me already did a hotkey that takes a first aid for me. So I had to go into my control settings and change it to RB and Y. I set it to because I didn't have anything set to that already. So that's how you get it out, and you can get that out and hold the blue chip detector in your hand or whatever. If you die and come back through comeback BR or the blue chip detector towers, you won't have any tactical gear for the rest of that match. You don't get any new stuff back. And now I'm just going to quickly run through what each of the different items does. For the spotter scope, you have to equip it into your hand. You look through it by holding down the aim button, left trigger, and then if you hold down the fire button for a few seconds, you'll see a little scan thing in the top left moving along. Once it's finished scanning, if it sees any enemies, it will tag them with a red icon, and then you'll see that on your screen for 7 seconds, even if they go behind cover, and your teammates will also see that. The drone works basically like it did before. It's just got a slightly shorter range, 200 meters, I think it is. You generally have to be standing up in order to deploy it. You press right trigger, the drone will deploy. You fly it around. You can fly it faster by holding down RB. You can pick up individual items by pressing X, I believe it is, and then you can fly it back and drop them by pressing the same button. You can hit left trigger to recall the drone. It will fly back to you. And if your drone gets destroyed, which is pretty easy to do, then you can only get it back by going over to it, picking it up, equipping it, and repairing it again. If you don't do that, then you'll have no drone for the rest of that match. Now today, I've got some very exciting news for you about our video sponsor. It's not yet another VPN or even a rubbish mobile game that you're never gonna play. Today's video is in fact sponsored by the Gents Collective, an ethical male grooming brand focusing on beards. That's right, after all these years, we finally have a beard sponsor. The Gents Collective have an amazing range of vegan, eco-friendly, and animal cruelty-free grooming products to help keep your beard looking and smelling fantastic. They've got a brilliant selection of oils, shampoos, cologne, and accessories available at very sensible prices, and you can save even more by using their subscription offers to get fresh oils sent to you every few weeks. I've been using their Artemis beard oil for the last month, and it smells great, keeps my beard soft, and I even got engaged to my girlfriend whilst wearing it, which I can categorically say would definitely not have happened if I didn't have such a nice smelling beard. The Gents Collective also have a great selection of gift boxes that would make the perfect present for a bearded loved one in your life, containing all sorts of accessories like oils, combs, brushes, and even a razor, which I've not quite had the guts to try yet. You can visit their store by clicking the link in the video description below, and if you use the code TBG20% at the checkout, then you'll get 20% off your first order and help support the channel. The tactical pack now stores 2 items instead of 4. The controls for it on console on a controller are just incredibly clunky. If you've got patience, you might be able to figure it out and get used to it, but for me, it's just really annoying. Sometimes you can sort of put stuff from your bag into it. Sometimes I found with ammo, I had to put it on the floor first, but if I actually put the tac pack in my hand, then the controls are slightly different. It's kind of weird. You can put anything in it. It's useful. You can put ammo in it, which would save you space, let you carry lots of extra throwables. You can put guns in it. You could put panzers in it. But I think with just how it works on a controller versus a mouse and keyboard on PC, I'm not sure it's going to be that useful. I may try and do a guide on the buttons, but honestly, honestly. It says them in the bottom left of the screen, but even with them written down there, I still found it so confusing as to how to use it. And trying to use it in a busy situation, I think would be very challenging. The EMT basically no longer gives any of its original heal buffs to you. You don't heal to full health from first aids or med kits. You no longer take those any quicker. You can't heal to full health on bandages. You don't move faster whilst medding. What it does do is that it heals teammates 1 second faster for med kits and first aids each, which isn't really of any use, but it does heal them to full health, which is kind of useful. It also revives people 2 seconds than normal, which is kind of useful. The only buff you actually get for yourself when using it is quite a useful one. It's not as OP as it was before, but boosts now are 50% more effective for you when you take them. So that means an energy drink now gives you the same boost as a painkiller, and a painkiller now gives you almost full boost. It's actually quite useful because painkillers weigh quite a lot and energy drinks are very light, so you could probably just get away with carrying all energy drinks and maybe one painkiller if you wanted. You could drink those a lot quicker and you can carry a lot more other gear. The blue chip detector pings every 8 seconds or whenever you look at it if it's already done its recharge timer. It will show enemies within a 50-meter range. It'll also pick up friendly players, and it'll also show enemy crates if they have a blue chip on them, or dropped blue chips if someone's taken them off of a crate and put them on the floor. Where it gets confusing is that you only get blue chips on maps with blue chip towers. So because Tago and Vikendi have comeback BR, you don't get blue chips. So on those maps, it won't show death crates, but on Erangel, Miramar, Destin, it will show death crates because you have blue chips. On Sanhok, it won't because there's no comeback BR, but there's also no blue chip towers. So it's a bit of a mess. This does mean you can pick up blue chips off people's crates and scatter them on the floor to try and confuse enemies with blue chip detectors. You can also block the power of the blue chip detector by equipping a jammer pack. The jammer pack will still block blue chip detectors even once it's run out of charge. Lastly, the repair kit can be used to repair helmets and vests to full health, as well as 500 durability to vehicles. This includes the BRDM and the glider. It can also repair teammates' armor, and it uses 1 charge each time you do one of these things, and it has 10 charges. You can change the target of what you're trying to repair by pressing left trigger, or LB will change that by default. If you want to repair your own things, then you press right trigger, and if you want to go and repair a teammate's thing, you walk up to them and it will highlight and say what damage they've taken to what thing, and you press the limited interact button. The problem here is that for some reason on PUBG you can't bind limited interact to many different keys, so most of the options I found all seem to have LB in it. You can't bind it to like RB and X or something, so I had to bind mine in the end to LB and RB. The problem there is then when you press LB and RB to try and repair your teammates' armor, you're pressing LB first, and it then switches to try and repair their helmet, and so it fails because you're trying to repair the wrong thing. So the only workaround I found for this so far was I changed my limited interact to LB and RB, and then press RB first and then LB, and it didn't change the target and it carried out the repair. It's really clunky and messy, and hopefully there's a better solution to this we might be able to find. Certainly binding limited interact to whatever you want would be very useful. The repair kit also allows you to remove tires from vehicles, and then you can place these tires onto burst tires on other vehicles. You only need the repair kit to remove them. Anyone can place these tires onto vehicles. You don't need that in your hand. So that's how you use everything and what it all does very briefly. As for what I thought about it yesterday, keep in mind I've played one session of about 5 hours playing 2-man squads with Nacho, you know, 2 pretty aggressive, experienced players running around chasing kills. You're going to play the game differently to maybe your average squad, and certainly differently to how you'd play in solos. Overall, I kind of found the update just a bit underwhelming. I didn't feel it like completely broke PUBG and changed PUBG as we know it, and oh my god, I'm never going to play it again. I just found it, by the end of the session, I was just getting a little bored of selecting the items. I was not even selecting a bit of tactical gear till halfway through because I kind of forgot or just didn't really care. I kind of feel like I like the changes apart from starting with the tactical gear. I'd rather you had the tactical gear slot, but you still just had to loot tactical gear on the ground like you did before. I think would be fine. A lot of the stuff is kind of useful if you're playing a bit slower, like the drone I found quite effective, but I don't know how much time I want to spend actually in a drone flying it around getting intel when I could be just running around getting kills. The blue chip detector I didn't find super useful, maybe in solos for digging out people hiding in corners, but generally with the blue chip, the 50-meter range is so short. When you're sitting there looking at it, you can probably hear the enemies if they're not sitting still, and because of the way that on some maps you can see dead crates with blue chips on, some maps you don't get blue chips, it's going to be so confusing for new players, and I just found it more of a distraction when I tried using it yesterday. I just kind of had rubbish games because I was too busy trying to look at my blue chip all the time, and then there'd be like 9 pings on it and I wouldn't really know what was going on, and I just did better when I didn't bother and I just listened and looked for baddies and just shot them, to be honest. I don't really think it's OP or ruins the game at all. I just think it's a bit average, to be honest. Like I said, maybe different in solos, but for me, it wasn't really worth the hassle. The tactical pack I kind of touched on a little while ago. It's useful, but just with the controls for it, I can't see myself ever using it. It's so confusing, the buttons you have to press, and trying to do that, if you're doing that, you know, quickly when you're under fire, I think you're just going to press the wrong thing. You're going to keep dropping your gun by accident or putting the wrong thing in your bag. I kept struggling. I could take a gun out of the tac pack, but when I went to put it back in, it would try and just put back in an attachment from that gun rather than the gun itself. And ammo I had to drop on the floor first to then put back into my tac pack, and the controls are just horrible for it, and I can't see myself using it. The EMT I actually kind of liked. It's obviously not what it used to be, which was OP as hell, let's face it, but as something to just take if you don't want to really think about anything, like you don't want to worry too much about what tactical gear you're using, you can just take the EMT and forget about it, and it just gives you these passive benefits. You never have to get it out unless you're healing a teammate to full health, which you might occasionally do, but you can just take it, never even think about it, and you're going to get slightly quicker revives and you're going to get more effective boosts, and that's quite useful. And longer term, if you're using that all the time, 2-second quicker revives, that is going to come in really handy on occasion and save you. The repair kit is also very useful. As I said earlier, the controls for trying to repair teammate stuff is really clunky. If you get used to it, it'll probably be okay, or it might end up being quicker just to swap vests and then just repair it yourself rather than worrying about trying to press LB and RB or whatever your limited interact is. But 10 charges feels very powerful. That'll probably get nerfed at some stage, I imagine, but being able to repair 3 gear over and over and over again, or even occasionally repair a car, is going to be also very useful. Overall, like I said, bit underwhelmed by it all. I don't mind it not feeling like a massive update for me. Obviously there is a lot of content here, but for me it doesn't feel like a massive significant update. We've had a lot of other really good updates recently, so I don't mind that, but I would like to see some changes made to this. I don't really like starting with it at the start of each game. I doubt that's something they're going to change, but we'll just have to wait and see what happens in the next few updates. Let me know your thoughts on this system in the comments below. I know it's been a controversial update, but now people have had a little bit of time to play it, maybe get through the weekend as well, play it then let me know what you think once you've got a bit more time playing the game in squads, in solos, and got a feel for how it works. So that's everything for today. Thanks very much for watching. Don't forget to check out the live stream today. I'm going to be doing Patreon squads over on Twitch, so hopefully I will see some of you there. I just wanted to drop you all a quick message to tell you about our PUBG creator code. As a PUBG partner, we have a creator code which you can add to your account, which means whenever you purchase anything in game, PUBG will give us a commission. Whether you're buying season passes, G-Coin bundles, or anything else that requires cash in PUBG, if you have our code added, then you'll be helping us out without costing yourself a penny extra. It's a great way to support the channel, and it really does help keep us making PUBG content for you. Plus, it's easy to set up and you'll only ever have to do it once. To add our code, first visit accounts.pubg.com and then log in or create an account. Once you've logged in, connect your Xbox, PlayStation or Steam account on the linked accounts tab, then go to the Creator Appreciation Program section and type the Beard Guys into the box or find us from the drop-down list. Then just click submit and you're all done. A massive thank you to everybody who has used our code. Your support is absolutely vital for us and it really makes a huge difference.